Wish everyone a Gamar Chatima Tova. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Scott Daub, and I am the president of B'nai Aviv 2021-22. My wife Tara, my daughter Rachel, and my son Bryce and I have been members of B'nai Aviv for 16 years. Wow. I never would have imagined I'd be on the beam addressing B'nai Aviv congregation on Yom Kippur as your president. And I know there are many of you out there thinking, yeah, you said you'd never do it. Well, I guess I should explain myself. I've heard Rabbi Watstein say on numerous occasions that someone doesn't choose their Torah portion, it chooses them. I guess the same can be said for the timing of my presidency. I mean, come on, who would have chose to become president in the middle of a global pandemic? Besides Jamie and myself, nobody. As Rabbi Watstein explained last week, you can be a Jew by choice or by chance. I guess you can say the same thing for my presidency. Was it by choice or by chance? I've chosen to be a Jew, and therefore, who am I to argue on taking the role of presidency when needed? I know you are all dreading the next 10 minutes or so, thinking to yourselves, here we go. He's going to talk about the budget, fundraising, all the synagogue's needs, blah, blah, blah. Well, I've been on the board for about 14 years. I can easily speak to all of it. Or I can talk about something that I think is just as important. We can take a quick vote, but I'm pretty sure I know what your answers would be. So instead, I'd like to talk about something else. I'd like to tell you how I got here, how I became the president, how I became the president of B'nai Aviv. To me, it sounds a lot like the theme song from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. In fact, I was going to sing that, but I decided not to. I was born in Philly, but I don't think anyone needs to hear me sing, and I don't think I need to go back quite that far. Let me tell you how I really got here as president of B'nai Aviv. Connections. When we think about that word, we often relate it to things. A computer connects to a modem. Conjunctions connect words and phrases. A plug connects to an outlet. Arteries connect to our hearts. And one of the most common things that we've heard since March of 2020, we connect through the internet. It is time that instead of connecting through the internet, we connect ourselves as human beings. The last 2 years have certainly shown us how important it is to stay connected with each other. B'nai Aviv is here to help you stay connected and build new relationships. Just as arteries connect our hearts, over the past 16 years, B'nai Aviv has become my lifeline and home away from home. Much of the office staff will attest to I'm here a lot. This synagogue is my family's heart, but it does not pump blood through our veins. Instead, it continues to pump a plethora of human connections for all of us. When we first moved to Weston, my wife chose to send our children to the new Reform Synagogue. Because I grew up in a conservative synagogue, this was very hard for me. But happy wife, happy life, or so I thought. After being there for several years and embarrassed to say, sneaking in to here for Rosh Hashanah, because our synagogue didn't have second day of services. I just couldn't do it anymore. I felt so much more of a spiritual connection to B'nai Aviv. So now it is time to have a serious conversation with Tara about making the change. It was difficult. The whole family had made many friends and social connections at the other synagogue. But because of my conservative upbringing, Tara was willing to try. And the children, well, they really didn't have a choice. The past 16 years have shown both my family and I that we've made the right choice. We belong here. You belong here. The change our family made all those years ago has shaped our lives in ways we never could have imagined. I became involved in the board. My children became involved in youth programs. And my wife became involved in the youth commission. B'nai Aviv began acting as our heart, pumping many Jewish connections into our lives. Sisterhood, men's club, Kadima and USY board connections for the kids that they still carry with them today. I do believe the momentum trip to Israel for Tara created a deeper connection for her to B'nai Aviv. With all these connections, our B'nai Aviv heart beats strong. Now I ask you, does your B'nai Aviv heart beat strong? Take a few seconds and think about your connections to B'nai Aviv. Is it ECEC? Is it summer camp? Is it religious school? Is it your child's bar or bat mitzvah? Is it the youth programs? Is it sisterhood, men's club, momentum, hazak, Torah talk, basketball on Sundays, the Millionaires? the adult B'nai Mitzvot, or the High Holy Days, just to mention a few. Now, if you're sitting here with all these possibilities, and you could say you only have 1 or 2 connections, it's time to start investigating what B'nai Aviv has to offer you. It may be something as simple as a chance meeting at religious school, or even an event that you read about in the e-news that might pique your interest or something. Just like we need to exercise our hearts to keep it strong and healthy, we need to build more connections to B'nai Aviv to keep it strong and healthy too. As Jack Albuquerque, our VP of Youth, once said at a board meeting, a synagogue without children has an expiration date. Think about that for a minute. It has resonated in me for years, and I believe it's critical that our children continue to be connected to our synagogue from the time they enter our ECEC program till well after their bar bat mitzvahs. I'm proud to say that we are the only conservative synagogue in Broward County with a U.S.-wide program. Think about that. I'm going to say it again. I'm proud to say that we are the only conservative synagogue in Broward County with a U.S.-wide program, and a very successful one that helps to keep our B'nai Aviv heart beating strong. It is clear to me right now, I don't see an expiration date for B'nai Aviv. I'd like to be the forever optimist and say that connections are all we need. Although they are important, it's the generosity of our congregants that keep the heart of B'nai Aviv financially sound. What connections do is bring us closer together and give us a sense of pride and ownership in our congregation and synagogue. I know some of you have heard about other synagogues in Florida that have had to merge, sell land, rent space, just to make ends meet. Unfortunately, some have even had to close their doors. We're different. We do it the old-fashioned way. Hard work, great programs, a very active board of directors, an amazing congregation. We already know we have the best clergy in Florida. In fact, I think we have the best clergy in the United States, but maybe I'm a little bit biased. We have an award-winning ECEC program that continues to grow. We have shown growth in our Hebrew school over the last 2 years. Again, we have the only U.S.-wide program in Broward, and what a success it is. I'm excited to say our membership numbers are starting to grow, and our numerous adult programs are successful. Let's keep this going. Keep B'nai Aviv's heart beating strong. As the rabbi stated last week, he's all in. And I realize that my family, we're all in as well. Please join us and go all in. Okay, here it goes. Just like every other president before me, I must ask the question. If you're sitting here with me or watching at home, it's now time for you to follow your heart. Will you please join me and take out your pledge card? Everybody should have that sitting here. Fold down the tab to help keep B'nai Aviv strong. If you're watching at home, don't worry. We'll be sending out your pledge cards on Monday. I hope you will take the year 5782 and start making your own new connections here at B'nai Aviv, because you belong here. I wish you all a meaningful fast, and may you all be scribed in the book of life.